Hey everyone! My name is Laura Lawson, and I am JPU's Senior Learning Designer. Today, we will be learning about one of the strongest impacts during your online course, social presence. While directly transferring your in-person class to your online class seems logical, it can detriment your students' experiences without social presence. From nonverbal communication to the genuine human connection, creating a sense of social presence is a priority when designing any online or blended course. Let's think for a moment about the social connections that occur during your in-person class. You may first think of nonverbal communications, like your facial expressions or your hand gestures while lecturing. Or maybe there are verbal connections, like a repeat after me exercise while teaching a fundamental phrase, or verbal feedback. However, there are way more amount of social connections that occur during any in-person experience. There's a sense of genuine human connection and authenticity, which leads to a higher level of trust. You can establish rapport with all students in the classroom directly. Additionally, being in close proximity creates a sense of mutual correlation. You have the same weather, you have the same humidity, all the way down to your same allergy tendencies. Beyond the instructor's social connections, the students' social connections are even more expandable. From consistently seeing new classmates and building social trust, to the natural feeling of collaboration and inclusivity in social events outside of class. I'm sure at this point, you're wondering how research backs up social presence. Multiple research studies show us the benefits of social interactions and presence in the online learning experience. Just to name a few, we have learned since 2008 that social interactions enhance learner motivation, promote student engagement in learning, and facilitate knowledge construction in a social context. We've also learned that online courses with great levels of social interaction between learner and instructor and among other learners lead to increased motivation, superior learner outcomes, and greater satisfaction. And lastly, the right combination of learner-instructor, learner-learner interactions in online courses can enhance learner satisfaction, motivation, achievement, and create a memorable learning experience. At this point, I'm sure you're wondering how to create more instructor social presence in your online class. To begin, let's look at a few helpful tools to increase your social presence. Embrace more instructor-to-student interactions. During asynchronous interactions like sending student feedback, publishing your lecture, and other elements of your course, you can also promote social presence. You could share personal and professional stories of your past in the field, or perhaps provide a life lesson to your students. Maybe even some comedy. Provide answers to student questions and post them publicly. This allows students to feel that their questions are relevant. Assist students with technology's issues as well. We have all been there. During informal synchronous interactions that are like a live lecture on Zoom, allow students to ask questions at the end of the lecture. Clarify all student questions and pending issues. Having an immediate response to questions creates a human environment that allows students to feel more socially included. Research shows us that when instructors include a space for informal interactions, learners can gain a sense of belonging to a learning community, which helps them overcome fears about technology and find ways to express themselves in an informal manner. Group collaboration in an online or blended course can allow any learner to feel like they are a piece of the puzzle. When you make a new discussion post, encourage other students to comment on their peers' posts by making this an assignment or offering extra credit for this collaboration. Additionally, sharing peers' projects online and asking for student reflections would encourage students to feel inspired by their peers' work, and they would gain educational awareness. Group work is such a special time as students are building trust in one another educationally and socially. You can assign case studies, virtual team projects, exercises in a synchronous class, ask for feedback from peers, or assign a real-world group challenge. For example, let's say you are a professor in the business school teaching an HR policies course. In a specific unit, you're likely discussing how to formulate a plan for hiring employees and contractors for a specific type of workplace. This would be a very real-world project as every workplace hires new individuals every year. So, now you know of the ways that you can incorporate social presence in your pedagogy. Let's talk about what media tools you can use to facilitate those methods. Weekly video conferencing your lecture and sharing recorded videos could be used for synchronous and asynchronous interactions. While starting your lecture on your video conference, you could ask a fun prompt like, "What does music education mean to you?" Enter your response in the chat. Of course, you would use your craft instead of music education, but you could hear from individuals and provide your definition of the word itself. You could set aside 10 minutes for questions at the end and ask if the technology is working for all online students. During recorded videos, you could also share stories of your experience in the field as an opener to each unit. Whether it be a story from last week or a few decades ago, this brings a realistic perspective to your students. Using cloud-based document sharing could be a fantastic tool for inclusive sharing to all. Cloud-based documents require little to no internet and allow for student participation globally. You could also add comments to the cloud documents to show specific, detailed, and personalized feedback. This is also a model to encourage students to use cloud-based documents while working on group projects and collaboration. Slack is a communication application that allows students and instructors to create chat rooms. Setting up a classroom chat and posting your favorite recipe, your pet, or perhaps your favorite place to travel would encourage informal communications, which leads to a more casual and open conversation. Making weekly or daily announcements could lead to more frequent and consistent communication. Research shows us that ongoing communication humanizes the experience and gives a sense of being together and being present with others. There are many in-Canvas tools that you can use to promote social presence. With the built-in video recording tool, you can make introduction to module videos and an instructional pedagogical wrapper. This includes a brief instructor video providing historical context and explanation of the assigned readings. In 2020, Karsh taught us that a good introduction will draw your learners in and compare them to engage with the content because it relates to them personally. You can utilize in weekly check-ins. Using student analytics on Canvas, check on students. Have they looked at their upcoming assignment? What about their readings? Are they maybe feeling anxious and therefore looking at the assignment 10 times per day? Check in with students via email and Slack. This shows students that you have a deeper level of care that goes beyond their grade in the course, that you promote their well-being and want to assure they're managing all needs properly. Utilize the in-Canvas inbox. You can send messages directly to one student, multiple students, message a specific group, and beyond. Utilize this tool to communicate clearly and consistently. Providing student feedback. You can provide video, audio, or text feedback. I would recommend to select one format for half of the semester and another for the other half of the semester. This allows students to benefit from both types of feedback without feeling overwhelmed with all of the information at one time. Initiating discussion forums. Adding discussion forums to encourage or require response to peers' submissions is a fantastic way to add social presence in your online course, not only between you and students, but from students to students. Learner characteristics will impact the social presence that students need during your course. For example, when you have younger students, they prefer to share work with their peers, but are hesitant in leading topics. This leads to less engagement for their age group. For adult learners, they prefer to work on their own and on their own time. They will also likely have prior knowledge in the topic, and they will become more engaged because of this. This shows us that if you have learners that are less familiar with the topic, they will be less engaged. Keeping a close eye out for those learners will be crucial, but perhaps shaping your course to match your learners first would be the best preventative action. Another learner characteristic to be aware of is the learner culture. Learners in different cultures react to educational and social situations differently. Learners in the Hispanic culture show a strong preference for social interactions that are collaborative rather than competitive. The opportunity to work in group projects that are planned, carried out, and evaluated by the group, as well as the reflexivity that is well supported by asynchronous discussion boards. Learners in the minority tend to prefer social interactions. Learners in the African American culture prefer frequent oral communication with learners, face-to-face rather than online, and when taking online courses, they often want to speak to their instructors offline. There are an endless amount of strategies you could use to convey your level of activity as an instructor. Providing personable, meaningful, and engaging social interactions that include saying students' direct names show students that you are caring to their experiences. Garrison, Anderson, and Archer show us that setting your tone of all messages is key importance. For example, to be questioning but engaging, expressive but responsive, skeptical but respectful, and challenging but supportive. Research also shows us that learners can see the purpose of the course, connect with peers and instructors, and show increased motivation and engagement in the learning experiences. Thank you for attending our session today. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at my JPU email. Have a great day!